Hey there, Papper people. It's me, Jason, the Lanky Lefty 27. I'm a registered polysomnographic technologist, otherwise known as a sleep tech. And today we are here to talk about 5 common problems of CPAP use. And then we'll talk about some of the solutions to fix them or resolve them for good. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please share this video with other people. Now, technically this is an advertisement, but please keep watching as this is actually going to be very helpful and keeping with the theme of this video. Now, these are common problems that people have, and these are quick solutions to them. They're actually products sold by the sponsor of this video, cheapcpapsupplies.com. Now, if you go into CPAP accessories, you can see things like travel accessories. Now, here's a problem a lot of people have. They don't want to travel with a humidifier when they're using their ResMed AirSense 10 or AirCurve 10. Here's a little cover. You pop the humidifier off and this thing caps the end of it. Great little product. Now, check out under comfort accessories. Now, one problem a lot of people have is mouth leaking. Now, Somnifix is a great, fairly inexpensive product. It's actually less than this if you use my discount code. Great little product if you are experiencing mouth leaking with a nasal mask or a nasal pillow mask. Now, here's another great product. They have actually several of them. They have tube covers. Now, a lot of you people probably own cats. They have several different styles of tube covers. Now, cats especially like to go up to the tubing and attack it, putting little holes in it, completely destroying the tubing. These are nice covers that actually will protect your tubing from your vicious little feline. Now, another great product in here under the comfort accessories is this Nasal Moisturizer. Now, a lot of people who are using nasal pillow masks, you'll experience chafing on the inside of your nares when you first start using, and it's extremely uncomfortable. It gets a lot of people to stop using their nasal pillow mask. Now, this stuff, it's aloe based, and if you actually just rub a little bit on the inside of your nares, it creates a barrier which makes using a nasal pillow mask no problem at all. Now, also at cheapcpapsupplies.com is this guy. This picture, this stock picture has been around forever. I call this guy Flash Gordon. He looks, look at his face. He is far too enthusiastic. But the Gecko Nasal Pad available at cheapcpapsupplies.com. Now, if you look at this closely, a lot of people will experience pressure sores on the bridge of their nose. This is just a nice little pad for people using like a full face mask and they have leaking in the eyes and they feel like they need to tighten that mask. This is a great protective barrier for the bridge of your nose, something I highly recommend. Now, let's check this out. We'll go ahead and put this in our cart. I just want to show you something. Now, once you put an item or several items in your cart, you want to go into edit your cart. Once you select edit the cart, you'll see all the items that are in your shopping cart under discount codes. That is where you want to put Lefty 16. Boom. So what was 24 bucks? You get $4 off. It's a little bit less. Now, if that's not doing it for you, you can also try VIP 30. And look, all of a sudden it takes it down $7.50. Please check out the sponsor of this video, cheapcpapsupplies.com. We really appreciate them sponsoring our videos. It helps us bring all this content to you. All right, the first common problem of CPAP use is aerophagia. Aerophagia actually means eating air eating. Basically, the air that you're trying to breathe in, you want it to be directed into your lungs. Instead, it's being directed into your stomach. Not all of it, but enough of it to make you burp, make you have thunderous farts. So before I get into some of the solutions to aerophagia, let's talk a little bit about how it happens. So typically when you have sleep apnea, a lot of times people get gastric reflux. You'll have the acid come up, you'll hit the upper esophageal sphincter. Now, sphincters, you have several of them on your body. They are circular muscles. Now, you have some, your eyes are actually sphincters. You have the upper esophageal sphincter, which is what is the little muscle that controls what goes into your stomach. And then the other 2 sphincters you have are actually in between cheeks. So one of those is your mouth is a nice little sphincter. And then you have another one that's lower, but still between the cheeks. So when you have sleep apnea, you'll often have acid reflux or be diagnosed with gastroesophageal reflux disease. All of that acid coming up and hitting that sphincter muscle really damages it, and it causes that sphincter muscle to be loose. Now, in life, I think this is universal. A loose sphincter is not a good sphincter. You want your sphincters to be very, very tight. That's positive. So once you go on CPAP, this sphincter is damaged. It needs time to heal. There's no set amount of time and there's no guarantee that it will heal, but in time they generally do heal. So for example, let's say that your pressure is, let's say 10 centimeters of water, and you find that air is entering your stomach and you're waking up with that painful bloated feeling. One of the solutions, one of the easiest things that you can do is sleep on a wedge. And by that I mean your body is upright somewhat at like a 45-degree angle. This is going to allow the air to escape out of that sphincter instead of being trapped in your stomach. You won't wake up with that pain. You'll be able to kind of expel it out during the night without much drama. Now, one of the other solutions you can do to deal with aerophagia is just using the flex setting if you're using a Philips Respironics device, or you can use the EPR setting if you're using a ResMed device. Both of these settings essentially decrease the pressure on exhale, making it less likely to be forced into your stomach. Now, in general, long term, I really hate the use of EPR and flex, but if we're talking short term for like a month or two while you're getting used to CPAP and while you're trying to deal with the effects of aerophagia, by all means use it. The goal when you're first starting CPAP is to mitigate the effects of sleep apnea, but also the pain that you may be experiencing with aerophagia. Find a happy medium. One of the other solutions, instead of just using EPR, is to actually drop the pressure. Now, this may be even below your therapeutic pressure. This is something you need to coordinate with your physician. Let them know that you have aerophagia. Decreasing the pressure really helps out a lot. It makes it less likely that the air is going to be forced into the wrong sphincter. And remember, this is just a temporary setting. What we're looking for is mitigating the effects of sleep apnea with the pain of aerophagia. If we can just meet somewhere in the middle, even though your CPAP therapy won't be completely optimized, at least aerophagia won't cause you to quit entirely. All we're looking to do is heal the upper esophageal sphincter, and then we can resume PAP therapy the way it was initially intended. Now, one of the last things to do, because it requires a totally different machine, is to actually switch to bilevel. So bilevel is you have an inspiratory pressure, IPAP, and then you have an expiratory pressure when you're breathing out, EPAP. Using bilevel often makes aerophagia much less likely to occur, and so it is one method you can deal with aerophagia more long term. Now, the last solution, which is highly controversial and people always get all crazy when I mention it, is to do a slight tuck of the chin. This seems to encourage air to go actually into the lungs instead of the stomach. I'm not talking long term. I'm not talking do it for the rest of your life, but just for like a month period, just try to give your chin, try to sleep like this just a little bit. It usually does do a really good job of preventing air from going into your stomach. To test it yourself, go ahead and give it a little chin tuck. Now try to swallow. Actually really difficult. Now try to breathe. Very easy. So just give it a shot if that works for you. If you're like this and you swallow, very easy. So that lets me know that air is easy to get into my stomach if I'm like this versus like this, but I can still breathe the exact same both. Just give it a shot. It's only for a month. I don't want to hear any stories of neck doctors getting upset because actually, go ahead and blow up the comment section with it. It'll help with my engagement. All right, the next common problem with CPAP use is a dry mouth. This is actually a problem I deal with quite often when people are consulting with me through, oh, by the way, axgsleepdiagnostics.com if you want a PAP therapy analysis. But in general, dry mouth is often a sign of either a mouth leak or a mask leak. Some of the things you can do to prevent a dry mouth is, first thing, make sure you're using the heated humidity. That is going to keep your sinuses moist and happy, and then they're not going to get congested and inflamed and irritated. The next thing you know, you have to breathe out of your mouth. That's the one thing you can do. If you're already using heated humidity and you have a nasal mask, you're definitely want to do something to close your mouth. Now, there's products such as Somnifix, works extremely well. I've also been experimenting with denture cream. That actually works pretty well, but it's kind of gross using it, and getting it off is sort of difficult and also gross. You can also use a double-sided boil and bite mouth guard. So when you bite down, it has really no place to go out. That's another good option. Chin straps I find to not be helpful at all, although you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, wear a chin strap, it'll help with it, but you'll still like, and you have a dry mouth in the morning. Probably one of the best things you can do, assuming you're on the right CPAP pressure, is to just use tape. Now, there's a 3M product. It's a light blue tape. It's a skin-friendly, very light tackiness that you can use to actually tape up your mouth. Pretty cheap, and it works really well. Now, what happens if you have a dry mouth when you're using a full face mask? It can still happen. And I know you're probably using a full face mask because someone told you at some point that it'll prevent dry mouth and mouth leaking and everything, but that's actually not the case. When you first put it on, it's gonna fit perfectly. When you start going into later stages of sleep, like REM sleep, your jaw will actually fall back and relax and get out of shape. And now the masks that fit flat here, your jaw is now open, you have a bunch of leaking down the bottom part of your mouth, and you're gonna get air cycling in through your nose and mouth and escaping. So you just get a rushing of air. It's gonna cause a dry mouth even with a full face mask. So now we need to find something that secures your jaw. Now that can be something like a chin strap. It can be the same double-sided boil and bite mouth guard. It can be something with bulk that creates bulk under your chin, such as a soft cervical collar. It works really well. And in using one of these solutions, with a full face mask, you'll usually find that your dry mouth goes away. Next up, we have sinus infections. A lot of people first starting out CPAP find that they get a lot of sinus infections. Now, I find that that's usually caused by one of two things. One is you're nasty.
Oh, damn, that's nasty.
So when you start having a lot of sinus infections, the one thing I would say above all else is to make sure your humidifier is clean. If you use it one night, you fill your humidifier up, make sure the next morning you dump all the water so this thing is bone dry, and you start with completely fresh water for the next night. Do not add water to the previous water. It's gonna grow some filth in there like you've never seen. You're gonna be breathing that stuff in. Next thing you know, you have respiratory infections, sinus infections, forever. Do yourself a favor and just rinse this out. Start with fresh water every single night. Do not add to it. The other thing that you can do is just make sure you have a clean mask and your tubing on your CPAP is clean as well. You have a lot of moisture going through the tube. You have a lot of moisture in your mask. So it really is going to help out if you just make sure that that is all dried out thoroughly during the day. Clean it out with hot soapy water. I know they say for the tubing, do it weekly, but if you're using humidity every day, just rinse it out, or at the very least, put it in a hurricane dryer and let it dry out completely between use. Same with your mask. You really want to clean it really, really well. Just get off all the organic material, the dirt and oils, and that's going to go a long way in help preventing sinus infection and upper respiratory tract infection, although I think the humidifier is the main issue here. Okay, the next thing that a lot of people complain of is rib and back pain when using CPAP initially. So back in the old days, I was a physical therapy assistant, and I was also a personal trainer and an exercise therapist. This was right up my alley. So when you have a bunch of muscle pain and aching like that, those are the intercostal muscles, all the little muscles between the ribs that go around the front and the back. Now, when you start using CPAP, you're breathing in a lot deeper than you were prior to being treated. Before, you're breathing real shallow, and now with CPAP, those are really inflated and you're really stretching and working those muscles. Those muscles are trying to fight back a lot more so when you're trying to breathe. When you're inhaling and exhaling, those muscles are getting worked like they've never been worked before. You're basically doing some heavy lifting with your back and chest muscles. All those intercostals, they're all the same. So yeah, expect this to be a little sore for a while. If you want to do some deep breathing exercises to help stretch them out prior to bedtime, that's probably a good idea. You can ask your doctor about some anti-inflammatory drugs. You can ice them front and back during the day when they're sore. Heavy alcohol use helps. No, I'm kidding, don't do that. Probably helps, but don't do that. So you can do things that you would do with any other sore muscle. That absolutely works well, but you also might want to consider, again, using the EPR setting, the expiratory pressure relief on your machine if you have a ResMed, or using the flex settings if you have a Philips Respironics device. It's going to make it less work for you to exhale initially. Again, don't use this long term, this is just short term, but it'll help you until you start building up those muscles, those intercostal muscles. Is really going to help you out as far as that back, chest, inter-rib pain. Now, the last problem that we're going to talk about is dry eyes when using CPAP. Now, typically dry eyes are caused by the mask, any kind of mask that's up around here. If it's leaking even slightly up into the eye, even if your eye's closed, it really causes it to dry out quite a bit. So obviously the first thing to do is check your mask fit, check that you have the right mask. First thing to do whenever you feel like you have a leak in your mask is just take it, pull it away, and let it reseat. You might need to do this with the pressure off, but just pull it away, let it reseat, so that the silicone can open up again. It doesn't have any folds and little direct paths to shoot you in the eye. If you absolutely cannot get that right, for whatever reason, it just keeps shooting you in the eye, but you love the mask otherwise, you might want to invest in a sleepy eye pillow. Now, when I'm working the night shift, I like to wear these during the day because it keeps the light out, but it would also work really well as far as keeping you from getting shot in the eye. So this protects my D-cup eyes. I know it looks like a giant bra. This protects my D-cup eyes from any air getting into here, and it keeps it nice and dark. Just one more thing to add to the ensemble. All right, that does it for me. If you have any other problems that are affecting your sleep and you want some solutions to, let me know in the comment section below. If you have had these problems and you found other solutions work, or these solutions that I actually mentioned here don't work, let me know in the comment section below. How else am I supposed to learn about this stuff? All right, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video one more time. Thank you, Cheap CPAP Supplies. I would like to also thank the low-level Patreon supporters. God love you. I know that you guys need love too, but let's be honest, you're not paying to be thanked. Please check the description box below for other ways you can help this channel out. Please look at axgsleepdiagnostics.com. Hopefully we can help you find a better way of sleep. The other thing you can use is check out and use my Amazon affiliate link. More on that right now. Thanks for watching. Please consider using my Amazon affiliate link down in the description box below. I clicked the link and added some items that my family needs, like a youth baseball bat for my son, but found that it makes my tiny hands seem large, so I use it too. We also got this street ball so my children will know the joys of being dunked on by a pear-shaped man. I also bought an eye screen to protect my YouTube face. Jesus! We also got this ice cream maker.
Are you eating ice cream out of the tub again?
No. Because as I discovered while batting, I may have very small hands, but I am still a thick boy.
Sick it out, even white boys got the shout. Baby got back.
Thank you to anyone watching this video, but an extra special thank you to my top level Patreon supporters and low level. Thanks buddy to Alan Liu, Stuart Hetherington, and Mona Swearingen. Thank you and thanks buddy.